Welcome to everyone. Good to see everyone back. It's an exciting time of the year. I hope everyone had a great summer. I know myself, our staff, and our players had a great one, and they were excited to get going here a little under a week ago. And I'm enthused where we're at right now. I think give us another couple weeks. We'll continue to get better, but I'm excited about some new faces. I'm excited about the number of returning players that we have that I think are some of them ready to have a great senior year, some just ready to make their mark and find their role on this football team. We have a number of returning players on this year's team, and anytime you have a large contingent of returning starters and or players that played significant amount of time as a head football coach, that does probably take a little bit of pressure off, but at the same time, always trying to strive and find those next set of names, and that's what's been really important so far in this fall camp is who are some of these critical backups that are going to play a significant amount of time on special teams, maybe in situational football on defense, and in the plethora of personnel groupings that we use on offense. And so far, there's been some names that have elevated themselves. But I'm going to take just a few minutes to talk a little bit about our depth overall in general. I'll buzz through every position. I may not say every young man's name, and I'm not trying to miss anyone on purpose. I feel like we have as much depth at the offensive line that we've had probably in a couple years. We have, I want to say, 9 young men that can help us win ball games. And excited coming back into it. 9 of your top 10 are coming back. But what I'm really excited about is the improvement I've seen in numbers 6, 7, 8, and 9. And they're different. Hunter Pontius, Jake Rock, Westy continue to get better. The reps that they've had over the course of the last year and a half have been critical in their development. Now you're starting to reap some of the benefits of that. Cam has done an outstanding job. Challenged him after spring ball. The thing that he needed to continue to do from the quarterback position was be that leader that we all have grown accustomed to with the quarterback position here at NDSU. And he's done exactly that. He was drinking out of a fire hose his first 2 seasons here, got thrown into the mix right away and did an excellent job in helping us win a national championship in 2021. He now has taken the next step in a leadership role as far as being able to have those constructive conversations with his teammates, getting everyone on the same page, great communicator in the huddle, great communicator in meetings. Guys like Cole, Peter, Nathan, critical to have that leadership in that quarterback room. Ton of depth at running back right now. Need to get a couple guys completely healed up. Jalen Bussey's back from an injury that he had a year ago. Hunter Lipke kind of fulfills a dual role for us, tight end, fullback, running back, but really feel excited about Barika Pinu, young man from West Fargo, really starting to show us why he had offers from some Power Fives late in the process. Kobe Johnson, I think Kobe's as strong a back as that version of himself right now that he's been, in the couple 2-3 years that he's been here. Owen Johnson got moved over from wide receiver to running back, doing an excellent job. Got to get Tamarick Williams still healthy, still a concern. I talked about Jalen real quick. TK Marshall is doing an outstanding job. So there's bodies there that can help us win, especially when you're a line of scrimmage-oriented football team like we are. At the wide receiver position, I think there's about 6 names that jump out to me. Braylon Henderson, DJ Hart, Rajah Nelson, Jake Lippy's back from a low back injury that has now started to kind of show himself again and getting back into that role that he was in kind of post-spring, and then we had this big injury that kind of set him back. Phoenix Sproles, practicing every day, being a great leader on and off the football field, doing the things that we all expect him to do, being involved in our offense. Tyler Terhark and Giancarlo Volpentesta, both doing a really good job finding a role. Is it in 22 personnel? Is it cracking on safeties? Is it making the tough catch across the middle? We may not have the marquee name at that position, but I think any of these young men can help us continue to be successful at that wide receiver position. Tight ends, Noah Gindorf is currently out of practice right now. He'll be brought back in later during fall camp, but with him being out and missing some reps, it's expedited the learning curve for guys like Joe Stoffel, Finn Diggins, Jacob Strite, Carson Williams, who is a transfer from the University of Buffalo, whose brother plays for us on the defensive side of the ball. And then you have Hunter Brosio and Logan Hofstad, who, again, kind of assume that dual role of off the ball, fullback, on the ball, tight end. It's great when guys can have multiple roles because it just creates greater depth for our football team. On the defensive side, some new names, some new faces along the defensive line. The Mostart brothers are right where they need to be, both being productive, both playing a lot of football for us. I've told you guys before, sometimes the most heated arguments in practice are the Mostart brothers going at one another. But doing a great job. Spencer Wagey, kind of on a rep count right now, but participating in all of Indy, multiple team sessions, doing a really good job. When you talk about 6'5", 280-pound kid, he has worked extremely hard to put himself in as good a shape as possible. Jake Cava, Dylan Hendricks, Tony Pierce. Expect a lot of big things out of Tony this year. A veteran player, has played a lot of football games, needs to continue to do a better job of finishing at the football. Lashaka Rokes put on 10 pounds, much stronger, much more physical of a presence, especially at that 6 technique aligned over a tight end. And then Javier Derritt, Jackson Dutenheffer, 2 young men that are going to have to help us, maintain and control the line of scrimmage, in those A's and B gaps. Javi, many of you remember, late last year in the playoff run, gave us a ton of valuable reps, made some big plays, forced some throws from some people. DBs, as deep as maybe we've ever been. You talk about the number of corners, you're talking 4 or 5 corners that could play for us. And when I say play, they could win us ball games. And then you have 2 returning 6-year starting safeties, both all-conference caliber kids, probably both all-American type kids. And then behind them, you have Dom Jones, Ryan Jones, Reggie King, Ty Satter. Guys, everyone here, Dom Jones has played a lot of football for us over the course of the last couple of years, and to have him in that role is extremely valuable. It gives us some flexibility in some packages, especially when we start to sub in and we start seeing some nickel situations, do some unique things, maybe third down or passing situations. And then linebacker is probably the most unique position we have right now. Probably the most wide open spot. I would be uncomfortable to name a starting linebacker at the Mike Backer position. I think both Luke Wirtz and Kubitz have done a great job to this point, but I just don't feel like one of them has separated themselves from either. And so I think competition is going to breed both of them having to play their best football at NDSU or here in the next couple of weeks. James Kaiser's back, healthy. You're seeing some explosiveness and things that we missed over the last year or so, kind of back and forth with that injury. Julian Ledarczyk getting moved to the Sam position has been a positive move for our defense, for our defensive staff, and also for Julian and the linebacker room. Brings veteran experience, brings that, played a lot of special teams, backup role, has a lot of experience in the dome, traveling. I think that's valuable, especially when you look at Oscar Benson and Enoch Sibomano being the backups at that role at this moment right now. And then Logan Kopp's another young man that is a really good football player, young man out of Lindenberg High School in St. Louis. Just gets it, and it's fun to watch when you have those guys. You don't always count on it, but when you see one of these type of players that just understands the game at a different level, it's fun to coach them and see how fast we can move this process along. And Logan's one of those young men. But guys, I'll open tomorrow's practice number 7. We'll be in half pads again. We've gotten through the first 6. NCAA kind of adjusted some of the scheduling. I wanted to go through the first 6 without a break. I wanted to see our kids strain a little bit. I wanted it to be uncomfortable. I wanted people to be sore and banged up because that's the game of football. And those of you in here who played football at the high school level, at the collegiate level, know 2-a-days were one of the thing of their own. And so a lot of camaraderie, continuity is created in those moments when your teammates have to strain together to be successful. And I didn't want to lose that because I think at NDSU that's part of our edge. But I'll open it up for questions.
Coach, at this point of camp, obviously every year every team's different. Have you been kind of able to identify what the identity of this team's going to be?
I think going into it, Devin probably had a little bit of an idea what the identity will be. I think more importantly, I want to see how can we adjust and expand on that identity. We were extremely efficient in the pass game a year ago. Yeah, still want those things. Want to still continue to, how can we utilize some wide receivers in run game? How can we utilize multiple bodies on defense? I think we still have a chance to be good at running the football and stopping the run and being really good on special teams, but we got some work to do yet.
I want to talk to you a little bit about NIL stuff. I know it's a favorite topic for a lot, but we've kind of seen it grow here locally. Some guys use their social media followings. Seen a lot of mattress commercials with Cam Miller. Kind of how have you seen it grow locally? How it's being used here with the players on your team?
Well, at this time, I think what you're seeing here locally was what the rule was intended to be. These young men are fulfilling an obligation. They're providing companies A, B, and C with maybe it's followers, maybe it's advertising, maybe it's a commercial, which Cam is now famous in the team room for that commercial. But that's how I saw the rule originally. You have to provide these companies or these people who want to provide NIL with something. It was merit-based. You get this, but you have to provide something. And unfortunately, and again, I'm speaking for Matt Entz, nobody else, I get the sense that this has become not merit-based, but more incentive-based monies out there. And so at the same time, we have to continue to grow. We're an extremely, I think, at times conservative, which I think is good, athletic department. We're not going to make any rash decisions, but it's not 2018 anymore. It's 2022. Things have changed. Transfer portal, conference shakeup, NIL. I don't know if we can sit here and just say we're going to ignore it, and it's because it won't go away. And my job is to make sure I protect this program and put the best product on the field. And if that means we need to expand some way in NIL, then we probably got to do some research and start looking into that.
Maturity level on this team yet to handle all the expectations?
I think part of that is we don't talk much about expectations, except with our senior class. I don't think we've had a conversation in the team room about winning a football game yet. We've talked about just getting better every day. And I think it starts with our coaches and starts with our support people, trying to avoid the buzz a little bit. The buzz is great. The buzz is exciting. It's what the people in this room want to talk about. But for an 18-year-old who may have to be thrown into a situation that he has to execute for us, sometimes it's not the best thing. We talked about early in fall camp, we're going to worry about just every day as the most important piece. You start looking too far ahead, and that's when anxiety gets created.
You heard the word Frisco during fall camp ever or anything?
No. Unless it's one of our offensive linemen talking about a hamburger from Hardee's or something. But no one ever talks about it. It's getting better that day.
Man, you're one of you and a few others of your staff are the few that have experienced an FBS game.
Yeah.
How do you approach that with Arizona looming? I know it's not game one, but it's there on the schedule.
Well, Dom, as you remember, we played Iowa. It was game 3, and you can't really make any adjustments to much because you have fall camp and then preparations for game 1 and game 2. What you'd like to think, and I think we do an excellent job, is that the preparation all fall camp allows you to be as competitive as you can. We put a lot of offense and defense in fall camp that isn't necessarily for game 1, but the retention is for our players that we may bring it back for game 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe game 11, but we have to have a base ground for it. We just don't want to install during the season. We have not had really any conversation about it right now. Where I made a comment to our players that I think is exciting is we have 3 new non-conference games. 3 new opponents that we have not played. None of these players have ever played. And so that to me is exciting, but never pinpointing anybody.
Hey, Coach, excited to be here, still digging in, learning everything. Talking about the young guys, Cole Payton, how is he kind of settling in? And can you talk a little bit more about what we can expect from him? I know he got very limited action last year.
Yep. Cole's done a great job, continues to learn, refine, has the best quarterback coach in the country, and Randy Hedberg has a tremendous leader in that room in Cam Miller. And so I think Cole, you see a very comfortable player out there right now, a guy who can control the huddle, a guy who can come up to the line of scrimmage, get us in and out of things, change cadences. And that is what's exciting for me, is just the ability the game plan, we've only scratched the surface right now. It's too early to say, will we go back to last year and have multiple quarterbacks on the field? I think a lot of things go into that decision making. But it is always nice to feel like after 6 days, and 6 days only, that we have a young man who is extremely talented at that backup spot.
Wisniewski, anybody else you think will be held out the first game?
Not that I know of right now. Wiz is going to be week to week right now. I would anticipate, as you said, he'll be out that first week, but we hope to have him back shortly after that, as of this moment right now.
Offensive line is like 9, you feel good 9 deep, you feel
Yep.
with your depth. Would you ever have a rotation where you get 9 guys in a game, or would it be shorter than that?
Well, I think offensive line's a little bit unique. I think one, there isn't a position group on our football team that emulates what we want to be about, and I think those 5 guys really kind of see that as a badge of honor that they get away here at NDSU. The Rams are who we are, and I think the continuity, the amount of communication that's required to be successful on the offensive line, it doesn't matter if it's an ace to the mic or a backside swap or a slip. I mean, they are always in conversation and communication pre-snap, and you don't want to sometimes monkey with that or overthink it. If we have really good 5 out there, let's use it. Now, the one area you've seen us use the ogre package, the offensive lineman dressed up as a tight end to get us a 6th offensive lineman on the field. I think you'll still continue to see that down the road during the season. I think there's a few kids that could sprinkle in here and give some guys some rest at different times, but I don't think you'll see us wholesale change like you might a defensive line group.
You mentioned the other day when we were chatting that Gray Zabel might be a candidate for the Ogre. Is he going to be an Ogre guy?
Could be. I think he'd be a really good one. I think there's a number of guys. I talked about earlier, some guys that have really shown their level of improvement. I think what it will become is probably that 6th or 7th offensive lineman. He typically becomes the Ogre. So I don't want to step out of bounds here and say who it will be, because I think it's still a very competitive room right now. Who's going to be that starting 5?
Are they fighting for the Ogre spot, or are they fighting for a starting spot?
I think they want to
fight
fight for the starting spot. Yeah, that's why I think for me to say who the Ogre would be kind of early in the process.
Gray stepped in as a true freshman during the spring season and started, I think, 3 games for you for various reasons. Last year, it didn't seem like he was in the regular rotation.
Had an ankle injury early that took him a long time to recover from. Broke his ankle, if you remember, late in spring, and because of the proximity or the closeness of both seasons, probably pushed him too fast in the fall camp of 21. And so now you see us maybe taking a little bit different approach with some young men. I think last fall, part of it, I'll take a lot of the blame, was we were extremely gung-ho of getting back on the field, and that was everybody. And we're taking a little more conservative approach with some of these injuries because it is a long season and very physical season.
So is he back? What's he looking like so far this
he's
fall?
completely he's back to the better version of what he was in the spring of 21.
How do you approach the 6th-year players during this time?
Just approach them like I would a senior and lean on them for their leadership, their insight, passing on the things to the young players that are important. This is a player-driven program. I get to be in moments like this, but the guys who really determine our success are the guys that sit in that front row of the team room, our 5th and 6th-year seniors. And it plays a little bit of a unique, I have a pretty good grasp of who our 6th-year guys are and who our seniors are, but that's a revolving door. But we want to make sure that those seniors go out right.
Previous school column was mostly blank on your roster. Is that a big deal to you, and why is that?
I think it's a big deal to our players in our football team. When we recruit young men, myself, coordinators, position coaches, we sit them down, mom, dad, whoever might be their inner circle, and we talk about a vision. Here's a plan to get your son on the football field at NDSU. And never in that plan did we talk about, but we might bring in so-and-so from University X, Y, and Z. We feel like we do a tremendous job. Our staff, our strength staff, our nutrition staff, medical staff, of developing football players. And so I think if we started, and again, I'm not ignoring the transfer portal. We've used it slightly. We're going to continue to use it at a conservative pace. It has to be the right person from the right place at the right time. We felt like we had a pretty good group coming back, and there was no need to rock the locker room or the team room.
You want to transfer here?
You need to talk to Ian Dino and the number of emails he gets routinely, or phone calls we get from so-and-so's trainer, he works out at my facility. Seldom do I ever get a phone call from a coach.
One position, when Quincy announced he's going to Temple, do you have quarterbacks calling you saying?
No, because I think they saw the depth of the room already, and sometimes just seeing the starters only, is he considered still a sophomore right now, eligibility-wise, Ryan? I think so. I think sometimes kids see that and are like, well, that might not be a great situation.
We're a little bit away from what the spring was. I know what you thought
Good.
about it, but I mean, spring ball of 2021, a plane.
Good.
What did you get though? Now the valuable reps of a guy like Dom Jones that Cam Miller played, is that Gray Zabel, is that paid off now for the fall of 22?
Oh, I think so. I think if you look at our depth chart, our board in our office and our staff room, you see a ton of third-year guys, that group, that are all over the depth chart. We have, and that'd be our sophomore class right now, eligibility-wise. And I speak in terms of eligibility, and I know sometimes our media talk in terms of schooling. That third-year group, we have like 30 of them on our football team, because that group and the class behind them are all now packed into one class. And so you're seeing the benefits of painstakingly going through the spring and moving people around from position to position, putting people on the grass that maybe had a limited experience or limited call card. This is all they can execute. We're kind of hamstrung, but we're going to go out there and play as hard as we can. And there's something to be said about still playing hard and having great effort.
You said you weren't ready to name a starter at the Mike position, but competition will be ramped up over these next few weeks. What specifically will you be looking for to name a starter?
Well, communication has to be a critical piece. I mean, the Mike linebacker and strong safety in our defense are extensions of our coaching staff. And so being able to process information and get the right information communicated to the rest of the team. We will have some controlled tackling scenarios coming up. And so being able to get guys on the grass and making plays, that's critical. We have a process of that grading, that daily grade that's already started, but it's too close for us to make a decision right now. But and there could be situations you see both of them in a game. But again, I realize that when you're 18 to 22, 23, being a starter is always a priority.
Teams, are there guys in line? How many guys are kick returning and punt returning?
Punt returning, let's just jump there. We're pretty fortunate everyone's back at that position. You have Jaden Price, who had some explosive plays. Braylon Henderson had some explosive plays for us. I think there's some young kids, too, that if we needed them, it'd be good to return. We haven't done any punt returns. Everything's been outside right now. We haven't done much in the dome. That always throws some of our young guys for a loop, because all of a sudden you're looking into, just a black ceiling, and it is just a little bit different returning punts in there. I think on the kick return specialist, DJ Hart, Rajah Nelson, Kobe Johnson. Remember 2019, Kobe was a 99-yard kick return against Youngstown. We have some people back there that are going to do a tremendous job, and our coaches do an outstanding job of putting together great schemes that fit our personnel.
Kicker?
We have not yet. Still competitive. Him and Will Cardinal would be the two young men that are competing for that. Kane Steindorf is our punter right now.
The depth that you guys have built up in pretty much every position group, and with all the competition that goes on, there can only be 22 starters for any given week. How have you seen their approach to this kind of competition through camp, and has it stayed healthy?
Well, it's been really good. Sometimes the competition swells, and there's an incident at practice that we got to get broken up, and then we get back to the huddles and go again. But Devin, the thing you just said is extremely valuable. 22 starters, offense and defense. There's 44 on special teams. And so that's the carrot, that's the nugget we throw out there. And we routinely talk about guys like Chris Board, who's probably going to be a starting linebacker for the Lions this year, was a special team dude. I mean, that's where he made his mark. Jackson Brown, young man, didn't play a ton of reps for us defensively, but was a special team All-American for us. And there's Nick DeLuca, who, Nick is helping us now in our strength and conditioning department as a first-year player. Nick was a special teams guy. And that sets the table for success down the road.
Relationships, especially at a position like safety, where Dawson and Michael have been playing with each other for.
You talking about my relationship or just?
How important is like their relationship together, having so many?
Well, I think
space?
those two have a brotherly relationship. I mean, true, they came in together. They were both knuckleheads together early in their career. Probably any gray hair I have might have been due to Dawson and Tut. Both super smart football players. Both come from, Indianapolis, California, and you kind of meet in the middle, and Bison football is the thing that brings you together. But they're awesome. Awesome families. I got to know. It's going to be fun to see those guys and see them play together and play at a high level because they're each other's biggest fans.